These are the quickest ways to get your graduate application rejected from graduate school. And the first thing that will get your application rejected almost immediately is that you talk way too much about yourself and not enough about your research or the specific program that you're applying to. This is not to imply that graduate schools don't care about you, because that's not really true. You are really important to your graduate application. But it is saying doing a long application and filling it up with mostly personal anecdotes and experiences without explicitly tying them to your goals and the program that you're applying to isn't going to help the review committee decide if you're going to be successful or not in their program. And even more importantly, it's not going to help them understand why this program is necessary to help you reach your goals. It is not uncommon, especially if you're somebody from a historically excluded population, to be encouraged to talk about your hardships, things that you've had to overcome, or barriers that you've had to face in light of your academic career or your own personal goals in general. And these things are important. I'm not implying that you shouldn't put any of these things in there, but rather than trauma dumping or trying to sell a sob story or trying to present yourself as needy or as somebody who should be given something because life was so hard, grad schools are more interested in seeing how these hardships or how these life experiences or how these moments have shaped you and guided you to your research question, your professional goal, your academic career. Now, if you want to see an example of how that's written, don't worry, I have videos on how to write your personal statement, and I actually show my actual personal statement that got me into UCLA, so you can have an idea of what that might look like. But the big takeaway is your story, your arch of your application should be leading the reviewers to why this program, why right now, and how the experiences, how the curricula, how the faculty in this particular program will help you reach your goal, and how your goals very much align with the mission or goals of the department. By being that explicit and tying them together explicitly, you have the opportunity to really present a convincing argument that not just that you want to go there or that your life was hard and you've overcame a lot so you deserve to go there, because you do, but for the review committee, you're really trying to show them that these difficulties have changed the way I view the world, or have given me these new skill sets, have prepared me to become this type of person, and this skill set, this person, this research question is aligned with your mission, is connected to the curriculum that you teach, is directly related to the initiatives that you all provide. And because of this, we are a good fit together, right? You want to demonstrate an arc, but that arc of your story of your life is really connecting why you need to go there and why you will be successful and how this program will help you reach your goals. The next thing that we often do kind of a little too much is that we're just too vague. When we're making gestures or comments in our personal statement, our main questions, or just general parts of interviews or our conversations in these applications, we may think that we're making a lot of sense or really providing a lot of detail as to what we mean, because to us, it feels so natural and common sense. But to the people that are reviewing our application, we may not actually sound any different than any other applicant. So it's important to not just say that you have a passion for this one particular focus, or that you've spent your whole life doing this work. You want to be as specific and tell a general story that has a beginning, a middle, and then the climax, or the part that will be the character changing moment for us, will be this graduate school experience. So rather than just vaguely saying that you're dedicated to this work, that you're interested in this program, or that you feel like you'd be a strong applicant, Instead, show them that you are dedicated to this passion, going to be a strong applicant, and that this program can be or will be instrumental, invaluable, irreplaceable, and necessary for you to reach your goals. By just making vague statements that you've always wanted to be a scientist, or you've always wanted to be a doctor, or that your dream is to work with dolphins, you don't really give a good explanation as to why now, why this program, and how will you succeed. And so, yes, while it is important to talk about your passions and what's going on in your personal life and how it's related to your own trajectory or dreams or passions, you want to be as specific as possible to help the graduate application review committee really understand why you need this degree and why now would be a wonderful time to do so, or why you think now is the right time for you to be successful. And that really leads to the next reason your application will be rejected. A lot of the time we are too vague because we really just want the degree and not the skill sets that it's providing. This is not to say that you can't have a dream school or that you shouldn't have a dream program that you're pursuing. Quite the contrary. It's actually saying if you have a dream school, if you have a dream program, then you need to really understand what about that program makes you want to go there. If you just want to pursue a grad school because of the name, if you just want to go to Harvard because it's Harvard, or UCLA because it's UCLA, and not because of the training or the education or the specific skill sets that that program will teach you, then a lot of the times your application will feel too vague. But more importantly, the review committee will see you just want the name, you just want the degree, but you don't actually want the specific training that that program offers you. Because let's face it, a ton of people want to go to a ton of schools. Hundreds of thousands of people apply to Harvard's, UCLA's, Penn State's, the best schools in the world. But it comes down to that these schools do have a lot of people applying saying the same exact thing. And even though the degree and the name would be wonderful, you have to demonstrate why you're different. So again, going back to why we're telling this full story of who you are, why your skill sets, or why this journey is important and related to this degree, you also want to be explicit that it's not just because of the fame of the institution, or it's not just because your family all went to this school. Instead, you want to really demonstrate and argue how this school is special, how this school will change the trajectory of your future, and not just for your, the namesake. It's not just because you get an Ivy League degree or a UCLA degree that people respect you better. Don't say that. Instead, demonstrate that, UCLA's dedication to optimism and changing the world is directly related to these things that I'm working on. And that type of culture will help me cultivate who I want to be, the work I want to do, the research I want to execute. And that type of specificity, that type of focus on the culture, the mission, and the skill sets will again make you seem more competitive in the application process. And some programs really do have specific focuses that really change from department to departments. So some departments, if you are applying to an art history program, some departments may be really, really into Egyptian art. And so even though you could go there to study any type of art, most people in that program are Egyptologists. And so if you are somebody interested in Egyptian art, you should very much talk about how they have the infrastructure, the skill sets to teach you how to do archaeology, how to learn hieroglyphics, how to do the things that are related to your focus. Another example is at UCLA specifically, if you are interested in African American studies, you would really develop the skill sets related to social sciences, specifically looking at data sets, doing semi-structured interviews, going into policy and administration type things, working in the government. The African American Studies department at UCLA is very much focused on a social sciencey, very focused on community engagement, the carceral state, and policy. And if that helps you reach the skill sets or the goals that you want, then that's what you would talk about. But you are an artist and you want to only study art across the African diaspora, you may not be that much of a fit for this particular program, because most of the people at UCLA focusing in African American studies are going to look at things like the prison industrial complex and not necessarily Samela Lewis and her history as an art historian and as a Black artist herself. So being aware of the minute details of each department and each program and forcing them and explicitly describing that it's not just the degree, it's not just the name of the university, but it is the skill set and the techniques and the resources that this university provides me will make a difference. There are so many ways to get rejected from graduate school, but on the good side, there's also so many ways to be accepted. And if you're interested in trying to figure out how to craft the perfect application for you and your graduate school goals, then you should head to my grad admissions playlist right here, because it's going to show you everything from my applications to advice from graduate students across disciplines, across majors, and it's going to walk you through step-by-step parts that you may not have ever thought about, like letters of rec. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.